I love this question so much that I wanted to make an expanded video on this. And the question was, why is it so much more difficult to work with left-handed overhead athletes from a PRI perspective than it is for right-handed athletes? Now let's look at what PRI is ultimately trying to do. PRI is trying to make you go from right stance to left stance. They're saying that you're really good at being in right stance, and they're trying to transition you from left to left stance due to the anatomical asymmetrical nature of our body. We're far more predisposed to being over on the right side than we are on the left. So all of their exercises, well, most of their exercises are designed from getting you from that right side over to that left side and being able to stay there, being optimal there, and then ultimately being able to do both things, right? So what we're understanding about humans at this point is that we're really good standing on our right leg, but not so good standing on our left leg. So from a pitching standpoint, a baseball standpoint, that would mean that right-handed pitchers who stand tall on the rubber with their right foot are going to pitch and trying to transition over to the left side, which would mean that all of the PRI exercises are designed for right-handed pitchers, right? So because we're saying that they cannot, their transition is the problem. Their transition over to the left side is the problem. On lefties, the script is a little different. You have to go a little rogue to be able to understand what's happening here. In lefties, the transition is not the problem. It's what's working. The problem is loading the left side. So now what we're seeing is an inability to load, but a much smoother transition. This is something that I've gone over in detail a lot because what are some things that you notice about left-handed pitchers, left-handed hitters, left-handed basketball players when they're shooting the ball? A lot more smoother. Think Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr.'s got the smoothest swing ever. Lefty pitchers, they're very smooth with their delivery. That's because they're really good at transitioning from left to right stance, while right-handers are going to have to potentially find some illegal strategy to get over to that left side, which are all really covered in PRI. On lefties, their illegal strategies, their compensations, their pathologies that they're creating is in stance phase, is in left stance, is in a loading phase. So you really have to get a little rogue with your perspective of the PRI principles to understand what's happening with a left-handed overhead athlete. So in summation, what we're seeing is that human beings are really good at being in right stance, and transitioning to left stance is the problem, which bodes super well for the right-handed athlete. For the left-handed athlete, it gets a little funky. The transition is really easy, but loading on the back side, or loading on that left leg is the problem, and that is why it doesn't necessarily fall under the prototypical textbook PRI umbrella.